I just caught Santiago fixing his hair right there, right when the webinar was about to start. Well, welcome everybody. This is the second session in this two-part session. This is focusing on commercial protection, so commercial protection devices. So we'll just get a little housekeeping out of the way. So first off, please find the question box. Let us know where you're calling from. Just say hi. Don't forget to check the handout section for literature on the devices that Mark and Santiago are going to discuss today. In addition, we're going to give you early access to the registration link for the next two sessions. These sessions are do not miss sessions. So the registration link is already in the chat section. And this is for an update on IQ Wi-Fi 6 on February 16th. And then, we're going to introduce you to IQ Remote PowerG on February 23rd. So as a reminder, on these webinars, we are giving product away as well. So after the webinar, if you're one of the lucky winners, you'll receive an email from Bo or Will. On this one, we're giving 5 of the PG 9862s, 5 of the 9872s, and 1 PowerG 9200 200-foot beam, and 1 9350, which is the 350-foot beam. So I'm just going to get a couple quick polls going. Get these guys started. Let Santiago fix his hair just one more time for fun, and then I'll go off camera and go hide in the background. So here we go. Let's launch. Do you currently use wireless devices in commercial applications? So pretty simple. Yes or no answer. I love watching the polls as they go through. So yeah, just about 90% of you are using some form of wireless in commercial applications. So that's great. Lots of people voting too. This is awesome. People are still dropping it. Busy webinar. All right, give this one 2 more seconds, and we're going to close it off. Okay, next one. Now, since the most of you are using wireless in commercial, are you using PowerG in wireless in commercial locations? Let's see here. Very, very strong. 95% of you are using PowerG. I'm not surprised. I mean, PowerG being, UL and ULC listed for commercial. I mean, not many choose. It's pretty impressive. But 91% of you are using PowerG in commercial locations. So that's very great. So I'm going to close that one off. 3 more quick ones. Launch it. There we go. Do you install outdoor motion sensors? It's a yes or no. Pretty simple. Ooh. Okay, so very strong on the no. So we're seeing about 65% of you are not using outdoor motion sensors. So I think the PowerG beams might change your mind on some of that. But here we go. That's great. Thanks everybody again for voting. This really helps us. Okay, 2 more quick ones. So if you are using outdoor motions, what are you using them for? Perimeter detection, automation, notifications, alerts. All right, so you can choose all that apply on this one. It's not a one or done. All right, so yeah, 70% using it for perimeter detection, about 30% for automation, and a very strong 70% for notifications and alerts. So very, very helpful. Thank you. All right, last one. This one's a real tough one. Hopefully it's not too hard for everybody. Are you planning on seeing us at ISE West? It's pretty simple. So about a quarter of you are going to go to ISE. About 3/4 of you are not. We would love to see you. We're going to have an incredible booth this year. We're going to be talking about some really cool products that are coming to market over the next few months. So if you have an opportunity, come down to Vegas and see us. So about a quarter of you are planning on seeing us, and we're definitely looking forward to seeing you. So I'm going to close this off, and I am going to now pass this off to Mark and Santiago, and I am going to go hide in the background. So thanks, everyone.
Hey, thank you, Neil. A little quick introduction. I'll introduce Santiago. I'll let him introduce me, but Santiago over here, he's our territory sales manager down in Florida and Puerto Rico. Man, we love this guy. He's such a strong coworker to have with us, and I'm excited to be presenting on commercial products today with Santiago.
Thank you, Mark. Well, Mark is our Director of Technical Account Managers, and well, it's also a pleasure working with you, Mark. Thank you for all the support with our customers. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. And today it's been very interesting over the years to see our product, our wireless product, used more and more in commercial applications. And the poll questions to see that hey, 90% of people, 89% of people are already using wireless devices in commercial settings. That's awesome to see. And I hope today, as we go through this, we can give you guys some more ideas that will help you out in those commercial installs. Maybe open your eyes to some devices that maybe you didn't think about using, and how you could use them, how they could be a benefit for you and for your customers.
Well, I'm talking about PowerG. Well, for those that don't know, PowerG is the most incredible wireless communication protocol for alarm devices. People like this protocol. The first reason is because of the range, but going above the range, I think is the security, the frequency hopping, and that this technology really avoids frequency jamming. We have 50 channels here that avoid jams. So if one frequency happened to be jammed accidentally or unintentionally, it's going to skip that frequency. And if somebody intentionally jammed more than 75% of the channels, the system is going to give an alarm and send that signal to central station. Also, it's going to save you a lot of time when installing them, because it gives you feedback and saves a lot of battery life.
Yeah, I mean, PowerG to me is incredible. And I remember it was probably about 6 years ago when I first met Santiago, and that was one of my first real world examples with PowerG. And we were down at a Dave & Buster's, if you remember Santiago, and it was incredible to go from one side of a Dave & Buster's to the other and see how it was working, in this enormous Dave & Buster's with all the machines and all the interference. But we are going to share some real world examples with you. Our sensors have been used in big box stores, and after Santiago explains a warehouse that he has in his area, we'll show you a real world example of kind of the cost that we got from one of our dealers when comparing, his estimates of a hardwire versus PowerG. And in that, the one we're going to share with you is that he shared with us was 90 zones, 6 partitions, each with their own keypads, and we'll kind of go over a cost breakdown.
Well, as you can see here, this is Macy's warehouse. It's around 650,000 square feet location. The building initially was just this one, the one in the center. I don't know if you can see, but inside that yellow kind of rectangle, there's a small rectangle. Those are all concrete walls with little openings to the building on the top north of it, on the west and the south. All that added up to 650,000 square feet, which is fantastic. We use a host, 6 repeaters, and we were able to get even to the security house back on the, it's on the west side. So the dealer was very impressed about that setup and how easy it was, and the installation was super quick.
Dude, that's awesome. So that's a real world example of one of Santiago's customers down in Miami. We had a customer that reached out to us and they said, hey, my estimated hardwire cost with labor for a job he was looking at 2 people spending 7 days, $50 an hour. It's gonna be $5,600 for his labor. With hardware, it's $1,500. Devices, another $1,215. He didn't add in the conduit, but there was a conduit cost, just to run the wire in, and then renting a scissor lift. He didn't include that, but then wire, and he was saying $85.15 were his real world costs. In comparing that with his estimate of his bid for the PowerG, his labor cost went down to, hey, one person 32 hours. So from 7 days down to 32 hours, 1,600 in labor, still some hardware cost of 1030. His device cost, this is the one area it went up because now he's using PowerG. So it's 4275, and then very little wire, running things to the maybe, host or for the panel and whatnot. So his cost was 6905, and this is what he had shared with us. So wired versus wireless, he saved, about $1,500 in cost, but the main thing is that he was excited about is that he freed up 80 hours of labor, for the next install, and he could focus people in other areas, and so being able to get a job done in a much quicker time. And when you go to a warehouse like Santiago shared there with Macy's, the quicker you can get in and out of there where you're not disrupting their workflow, that can help a ton with jobs. So you can see how this can allow you to do more jobs in less time at a lower cost, go out and win those bids on projects.
So I was telling you, PowerG is it's a two-way protocol. So basically, that's what we have. Instead of a receiver, we have a host, which is a transceiver, transmits and receives signals. This impacts a lot the battery life because it makes the transmission of just one transmission rather to 6 to 12 transmissions compared to the other wireless protocols that we can find in the market, including our old 433 and all legacy frequencies. But two-way communication also gives us an LED here that is going to blink or green or yellow or red. That is going to show the installer how far it is from the host, and it's going to give the installer also an idea of where to put a repeater if it is needed. Here you can see, well, some of our sensors. One of them is the PG9309. The PG9309 is designed for commercial applications, for those doors that are open, that open and close frequently. This one in particular give us a rating for 2,000 openings per day for 5 years, which is fantastic for Burger Kings, for those stores that open and close all day long the doors. So we released this one when we realized that we needed a solution for that in this kind of applications.
So super cool sensor, especially with that, like I said, for a high traffic area. And it's also nice, you got a built-in reed switch. But man, 5-year life, being able to open and close, 2,000 times a day, that's pretty incredible. Here's just an example of, the beginning of an entryway of like a supermarket. So really neat. Another sensor we want to talk about is our wireless shock detector. Not sure if any of you guys have used these or who doesn't use them, but these are great because sometimes if someone's going to go into a store, especially to break in, they're not going to be just walking through a door. They're going to break a window. They're going to, cause vibration on the frame. So this is perfect for that early detection, that gross attacks. Picks up that low level shock, has the built-in shock accumulator detection, and then there's also an optional auxiliary input that can be enrolled. And if you're using the IQ platform, you could learn that in as a separate zone. So once again, also has a built-in reed switch. So 5-year battery life. Little example here would be, once again, your storefronts. Sometimes, like, let's say this was on the frame, you could actually be covering the door if the door opened and closed as one part of this sensor. But then also, if somebody was to break through one of those windows and cause vibration on that frame, now with this shock detector, it's gonna pick that up and give you, advanced warning, and hopefully it would be maybe before the window even breaks. If they have to hit it multiple times, it would cause the alarm to go off and be a deterrent to scare them away. So really cool device here with their 9935, and a lot of times I don't use the part numbers. I don't say PG 9935. I'll actually just say this is the wireless shock detector. So
yeah, and Mark, I have a lot of customers that have used these in vaults, so they can detect the opening of the vault they can detect at the same time the shock if somebody is trying to breaking the vault, and also they can connect an external sensor like a temperature sensor or a pressure switch or something extra, because it has also the input. So it's a 3 sensor in one. It's a shock, it's a read switch, and it's a it has an external input. So it's great.
Dude, that's awesome.
And you can adjust the sensitivity of the shock on the sensor or on the panel, an IQ panel, a Pro, an IQ Pro, any of those.
So Santiago, do you want to tell them about our long range motion and the applications you've seen for it?
Yeah, sure. We have been installing this one in warehouses. The height of this one, you saw this one up to 40 feet of height, and with that height you can cover up to 65 feet in diameter. Sometimes the warehouses are higher than those 40 feet. What people is doing is that they bring a pole, they hang a pole from the ceiling and bring it down a little bit, and that way they have full coverage to limit the movement within the warehouse, because sometimes motion detectors on the walls are not going to be enough. So they're combining these with other technologies as well. Very easy to install, and the area that they cover it's a 65 feet diameter circle. So you can just multiply by P and, well, do that all that equation to know exactly how wide you can, the area that you can cover with that.
And what's cool with that is you're shooting out 120 beams. So 360 degree area, 120 beams, getting that protection from up above. That's pretty incredible. So a small example here could be maybe a shop, something with a higher ceiling. So that's what you're going to use that long range motion for.
And we have also the short version. So the small version of that one, now it's not going to cover the 65 feet. It's going to cover half of that area, but usually use that one at the offices. So basically the applications that I have seen is that they put these long range detectors at the warehouse, and in the front office they're using the PG9862, which is kind of the smaller version for the offices of those warehouses. Battery life is incredible, 5 years as well. It's great.
I was going to say, one thing that's great about the short range detector, especially let's say in an area like this auto shop, a car sales, a car store, or auto shop. In this example here, though, every day the environment's changing. Cars might be moving in and out. And instead of using a wall motion, that's the traditional use. Everybody goes, hey, I'm going to use wall motions. Well, if you were to install it here, one day you might have a vehicle right in front of that wall motion. Now it's blocking protection. So that is the point of getting them up on the ceiling, having that 360 degree motion that's covering down below. And it doesn't matter if the environment changes. So you have different setups, different things moving around. Also great for, let's say like a store. I've installed these in stores that have drop down ceilings, like let's say a Rite Aid, and then it's looking down at the aisles from up above. So you're getting much better coverage as opposed to your traditional, wall detector. It's in the corner and, ends up getting blocked by visibility depending on the environment. So really cool detectors, these the 360 motions.
And Mark, I've been seeing this detector combined with this one exactly. The combination of those detectors is super powerful because, well, the first one covers a huge area. This one covers like entrances. We call that a curtain motion detector, or curtain PIR, which is like a narrow curtain that is intended to protect windows, doors, and any access point to a location. Inclusively, inside the building, there are some points that we want to know when people is crossing, but we don't want like a long range or wide range sensor. This is very powerful because you can go up to 18 feet you can cover a window up to 18 feet wide or 18 feet long. it's a great combination. And we have also the outdoor version of this one. I don't know if you want to talk about it.
Yeah, I'll talk about that, but real quick on this one, this is also nice for, like, let's say a corridor, where instead of putting a traditional motion up there and the majority of it's just looking at the wall, this will actually look down the corridor. And then once again, you got the adjustable coverage, 6, 12, 18 feet. And you can even go and adjust that remotely on alarm.com. So really, really cool detector here. And as Santiago mentioned, the outdoor curtain motion, I love this device. I have one at my own house. I use it more for notifications and automation, but I have one sitting outside. I live in Utah. It's been in the single digits lately, and I've had mine up for a couple years now. But I use it to, kick on my side porch light on the side of my house, or let me know if somebody's going into my backyard. And that's one thing that's interesting with this device, is it has cross-directional detection on the IQ panel. So you can actually set it up and say, I want to be notified, or I want it to go off when somebody enters left to right or right to left. So that way it could be, hey, I want to know when people are going maybe into the building, but I'm not worried if they're leaving. And that's kind of how I use mine for my house. If somebody walks into my backyard, I'm going to get notified. But if they're leaving, it doesn't detect. So really, really cool, outdoor motion here, IP55 certification, really good for those extreme temperatures and harsh environments. Anything else you'd add about this one, Santiago?
No, I think that you have covered everything. Well, one of the things that I want to highlight here is the anti-masking solution. It's awesome. As you see, the lens of this device is intended to protect that and avoid people like pinching the lens or masking the lens. And when that happens, it's detected. I have it in my front porch. So every time that the Amazon or Walmart or any delivery comes to my house, I get a notification. So it's really cool. I use it every day.
Yeah, once again, I love this device. Great for the outdoors, and even in the indoor environments where you want to have that detection, knowing if it's someone coming or going, or covering maybe a roll-up garage door. And the other curtain motion is also good for that. Great for that use case also, like a garage, a roll-up door.
So a while back in Puerto Rico, actually, we didn't have this sensor, but Optics has this version of sensor with the battery and just the inputs. So this sensor has been around for quite a few years. And my dealer was debating into using that one with batteries or hardwiring it. And they tried first hardwiring it, and it was a mess, and it was costing them a lot of time. They ended up paying the extra price of using the battery operated sensor of Optics and putting 5 PG9945s to transmit the signal from both sensors, and they used 10. What is funny here is that we use that to install and protect the premises of one of our competitors that down there. I'm not going to say the name, but it was funny because of that. And if we have had this sensor back then, it would have used only 2 zones of the system instead of 5, and installation would have been very, very quick. Actually, one of my dealers down here in Miami installed one of those, the small version. We have 2 versions of this one, the 350 feet long range sensor and the 200 range sensor. As you can see in the next slide, you can pass to next slide, Mark.
Okay.
As you can see, next slide. Can you hear me?
Yeah, is this the one you wanted?
No, actually the previous one. One back. That one. As you can see in this slide, you cannot see it here, but this sensor holds up to 2 batteries, each of them, that will prolong battery life. When you buy this sensor, you need to buy the batteries in a separate case, and the big version The 350 feet version holds up to 4 batteries, 2 each, which give us a better battery life for those sensors. The small version that you're going to see here, next slide, holds up to 1 battery each. And battery life goes up to 5 years in those. Miguel Vidal with VCS just installed those this week, actually. And we have him here to explain us how easy it was. Hi, Miguel, are you here?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you clear and nice. So Miguel, tell us about how was the experience installing this sensor?
The experience was amazing, actually. We do a lot of optics, and Santiago was explaining about that dealer in Puerto Rico that had to put 5 PG 9945s, 3 on the RX and 2 on the TX. We had to do the same. We have a lot of water parks here in Miami from the city that we did a lot of perimeter, and it was a headache, honestly. I heard this was coming out when you guys first announced it, and I couldn't wait for it. And we actually had the opportunity to install it this week. We finished this. It's a residential application, but the PowerG built into it just not only does it save us time in installation, the service is going to be amazing for any repairs or batteries. Instead of changing 5 PG 945 batteries plus the optics batteries on them. So it was the installation, the experience was great. This application was done with the Power Series Neo. The alignment is very simple. Um, uh, this unit, especially the optics, has the little eye lens that you put your eye to the left of it or to the right of it, and you could align it. The TX and RX. So the alignment it's very simple as well.
So you guys, this is a real world situation, Miguel. We haven't met, I haven't talked to you before, but you just installed this last week, and you said it was residential. Did you install these posts yourself that the mounted on?
So yeah, I did. So this client actually had a previous single lens or single eyeballs, whatever you want to call it, optics, and the previous integrator had it on PVC piping. That's why they were getting a lot of false alarms. So we obviously ripped all that out. We put obviously aluminum post, their fence post, heavy duty. We dug them in on the ground. We painted it because that's what the customer requested, and obviously we slapped in the 9200 in there on those posts.
Great.
That's
Hey, Miguel,
awesome.
thank you for giving us all that feedback. Thank you so much for using the product, and I'm very happy that you had a great experience installing this, a real life experience that you can share with everybody here. Thank you for accepting the invite, and thank you for sharing. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Miguel. So guys, just going back to these 2 detectors, first with the 350, it does have the sniper viewfinder. So as they explain that, you're able to help get it lined up. And we actually went with a vivid interior here. So instead of being black, a little harder to see, that vivid coloring makes it a lot easier to see. It has an alignment dials that allow you to, I believe, adjust it 10 degrees. So very awesome detector, and it has beam blocking plates. So you can actually block either the upper 2 beams or the bottom 2 and get double the battery life out of it. So you can get, I think, up to 10 years, 6 to 10 year battery life if you have, I believe it will do 4 batteries in each side.
So Mark, just to make this clear, the alignment dial is kind of a little aim that you have there, and while the other sensor is on the other side, and you get closer to that, it is kind of a periscope mirror there that you aim to the other sensor. It's really interesting how optics has developed that and it makes very easy the alignment.
And from my understanding, it has a two-time magnification in that also. So When you set these up, you start at the transmitter side and then work on the receiving side. But really cool detectors. I have a couple here in my desk. I actually have the 350 at my house that I got as to demo with, and a really cool detector. But this is what they look like, the size. So really neat detector, and it can save you a ton of money. Imagine if you had to trench across a parking lot or something, or running wires all across the top of a warehouse. So really good use cases here, and they've really been a hit in the field. So anything else you'd want to add on those, Santiago?
No, basically, I think we covered everything. But for those who hunt, it's going to be very familiar when you aim with the sensors. It's pretty much, it's very similar when you're aiming a target.
Or even those that play video games or duck hunt.
Yeah.
Same thing. This next device I'm super excited about, the wireless temperature sensor. There's so many applications here. I think of this as a device that is really easy to upsell, an add-on device that not only is it something that I can sell, but I can also increase the RMR, or the monthly monitoring rate. One thing that's neat about this is it even has an optional probe. So this is made that it could be installed inside let's say a convenience store, back in the fridge, and it can monitor the temperature of that fridge. Or if it was even there's a freezer situation where it's outside the limits of the device itself, then you have this optional probe that you can use. And you'll see the operating temperature is -22 up to 158 Fahrenheit. You go in and you set the high and the low reporting thresholds, and there's things that you can do at the panel. But then the biggest thing about this one, especially if you have the Alarm.com Commercial Plus package, is the remote reporting and what you can do from Alarm.com. So that's kind of what I want to jump into. But here, as you see, it says compatible with Alarm.com Smarter Business temperature monitoring, and you can increase the RMR. We've seen these used in things such as like a Chick-fil-A, Bodangos. You can imagine like a seafood market, but even a server room. On that last slide, we showed a server room up there where, if it was getting too hot, that could cause an immense amount of damage, and you're protecting something very valuable. So that's what's so nice about this temperature sensors. It's not that expensive, and you can sell it and then increase the RMR, and provide a huge value to your customers. And this is just an example, like I said, of like a convenience store. But from the Alarm.com side of things, you got that business temperature monitoring. So real quick, on a Gold Interactive package, you can actually see two of these, and a lot of people automatically are getting the Gold Interactive, but you can get basic temperature visibility on two devices. But if you go with the business temperature monitoring plus plan, now you're getting your real-time alerts of your fridges, your freezers. If anything goes out of range from those thresholds that you set, you can see that. You can know if a door is left open. And one thing I also like about this is, let's say you're in a kitchen, restaurant, you require the chef or whoever to go back there, and every hour or 2 hours he has to write down what temperature the freezer's at. Well, he's got his greasy hands. Now this is all just on Alarm.com remotely. So you could say, hey, I want to see what I'm seeing daily, weekly, monthly temperature trends. If you see let's say you had a freezer and you notice, hey, it's not staying quite cold enough, this could tell you, hey, I need to go get this serviced. It's getting to a point where it's raising that threshold. It's not staying as cold as it needs to. I need some maintenance done. So some really huge value here. And as you see, this works on all the IQ platforms, and the Neo and the Power series. Anything you'd want to add on this, Santiago, that you've seen real world, or things that you like about the temperature monitoring device?
Yeah. I have quite a few restaurants here using it. Restaurants can store sometimes up to thousands of dollars in food lobsters, fish. Actually, it's a fish restaurant, a fish chain that we have down here, and they're using it to monitor temperature in their freezers, because if one of them goes down during one of the days that they don't open, it's going to be a huge loss for them. So that's the application that I have seen the most down here in my territory.
Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, it can save you a huge loss in food going bad, spoiling, and maybe even accidentally serving food that you didn't realize got, you know, out of that threshold to a customer, and then they end up getting sick. You know, and so I love this sensor. I think it has huge value. And like I said, I think it's one of those things. It's a really easy add-on when you get into that commercial space. There's just so many use cases and different things that you could think of that it could be used for.
Yeah, well, I want to talk also about the siren. This is one of my favorite products, my favorite PowerG products. Yeah, I use this outdoor siren in the interior just because it is so loud that when it sounds, you don't even know where the sounds come from, because it reverberates all around the house. Plus the flash, it's also really cool to have, because that's a deterrent for the intruder if somebody happens to come in here. It sounds really loud, and the battery life is fantastic. I moved here to my house 3 years ago, and it's still running. It's still running with no problem. And I think that I have five more years left of battery life there. So it's great. As any other PowerG device, it also has a test button, a test LED, that when you're in the exterior is very convenient, because you press the button and you check if it is green, yellow, or red. And if you need a repeater, you can put a repeater between the host or the IQ panel and the siren to boost up the signal, and works very, very well.
And what I love is being PowerG, you know, it saves you from having to run that wire. And I can only imagine, you know, the time, the labor cost, the scissor lifts, whatever, to run a wire across the warehouse to go install, you know, a hardwired siren. So this is just so nice to have wireless technology that you can just mount, and it's, you know, super reliable. And like I said, I've had an outdoor siren at my last place. I thought I thought it was pretty amazing, but it was a little loud for the neighbors at times in a residential setting, but really cool device. And these are just some examples, you know, jewelry stores, different places are going to like it. This example here, you can see if you had to try to mount a wireless outdoor siren around a place like this, with running wires and stuff, as I said, it could get very complicated. And with having PowerG and what you get with that, the range, and, you know, if needed, add a repeater, pretty awesome, Santiago.
I actually also I have one of my dealers. I'm not recommending this to anybody, but they only wanted the flash, and you can make that flash only sometimes. Bring a couple of engineering there, a local engineer that they had, or you can also turn off the flash and just make it sound. You can graduate the sound level. So if your neighbor starts complaining, remember that you can put that in a low threshold, high or low volume, medium level volume, or go nuts with all the power of that volume up.
So super awesome siren. And the last one we want to talk about is our wireless indoor siren, strobe also. So once again, you get the, you know, good looking device, 7-8 to your battery life. And one thing that's neat about this is, you know, it has the optional entry exit beeps. So you could have it chirp if somebody was coming in and out of a door. And I would say, let's say you had a business and a lot of times you're back in the warehouse, you want to know if somebody's coming through the front door. That would be a good use case. Hey, it's in the back of the warehouse. I know when people are going back there. So really cool device here. Once again, it's programmable volume, so low, medium, and high, up to 110 decibels, which 110 is very loud. Has the built-in LED strobe, and you can also use this, it's partitionable. So really neat there. Sounds, will sound with your other emergencies like a fire, carbon monoxide, a burglary, even a flood event if you wanted it to. So really, really cool indoor siren here.
Yeah, and the potential future is great because there are buildings that you want to make it sound just if there's an alarm on the first floor, but not on the second. So you can partition that and make it sound just for certain sensors. So it's really cool. Also, you can announce chimes on that siren. I forgot to mention that the outer siren also has a temperature sensor that displays temperature on the PowerG Series Neo keypads.
That's awesome.
Okay.
So once again, this is like the workshop, or that I was saying. You can have it back there, have it chirp, or if it goes off in a warehouse like this, it's going to echo. It's going to be super loud. So really cool indoor siren application. And then with that strobe, if you ever run into a customer that is, hearing impaired, they rely on strobe light visibility. You get it with this sensor. And this is kind of our lineup now, our whole, portfolio of commercial devices that can be used in so many different applications. I think there's things that we don't think of sometimes, and we have dealers that come to us and say, yeah, man, I actually use this temperature sensor in this situation here. And, you can find different use cases out there to help you and your business be successful. So please chat in if you guys have any questions. Santiago, do you have anything to wrap this up with?
No, I mean, I'm just amazed about all our solution for commercial applications. We have pretty much every sensor that is in the market. And just remember that what we don't have a sensor that you like, you can always transmit that using any of our transmitters, or the PG9945, or the commercial sensor, or yep, you can use that to transmit any signal.
Yeah.
In PowerG.
So to finish up, Neil, I know the prizes will go out by Will and Bo, but let's finish up with some Q&A. What have you had come in here, and what kind of softballs can you throw my way, and maybe
actually not a lot of softballs at all. I mean, really good questions in chat. Lots of questions on the 9901 and 9911, and the different options. The one thing I think we failed to mention, and maybe I missed it, on IQ4 we are actually adding in the next firmware release the ability for siren or strobe, or siren and strobe. So you'll be able to change that on the IQ4. Chris wants to know when IQ Pro is coming. IQ Pro is coming very soon. We'll have a webinar after the next series. We'll have a webinar, but look for IQ Pro at ISC. What else do we have? ETA and IQ Fire. IQ Fire is a ways out. The PowerG Heat's going to be middle of this year. It's back in UL testing right now. But everybody's questions have been answered. If there's questions that haven't been answered, we will be following up afterwards. Chris, IQ Remote PowerG, you need to attend the session. Go look in chat. You'll see the registration link for it. And we'll be talking all about IQ Remote PowerG in about, we're taking 2.
And then also don't forget, just in case, there are some
23rd. Yep, there is handouts in the chat, in the handout section for all these devices. So yeah, I think we're, any plans to allow for IQ4 and Neo compatibility? Well, that is what IQ Pro is, Sam. Yep. So IQ Pro is IQ4 and a Neo, put together. So PowerG secondary keypad, yeah, we've got that request again. Register for the session. Lots of PowerG questions on the remotes, that's for sure. Is there any way for a 9901? Well, this is a good one for you guys. Is there a way for a 9901 to work like a door chime, like it does on Neo? I know the answer.
And I guess that he means on the IQ panel?
Yeah, could you have the IQ4 chime the 9901 when a door opens and closes? Ooh, stumped you guys.
I haven't tried that one. But I have one here. I will try it and let you guys know.
The answer is yes.
Yes, the answer is yes. Sorry, guys,
Good.
I was setting you up there. But yeah, lots of great questions. But again, right, if we haven't got to your question, we'll output these questions and we'll get back to you. But yeah, stay tuned. We're taking 2 weeks off, and we'll be back on the 16th talking about IQ Wi-Fi, and then on the 23rd talking about IQ Remote PowerG. So I expect we'll see all of you on the IQ Remote PowerG one. I think you're gonna be pretty excited with what the team's been able to put together. When will the IQ4 work with Control 4? 4.3, you actually have full control. Well, it works with Control 4 now with one partition, but in 4.3, which is coming out in early March, you'll have 4 partition capability with IQ4 and Control 4. So
Awesome.
again, lots of great questions, but we will get back to you on those ones we couldn't get to, because as usual, you guys waited for the last minute and then just started dropping probably 100 questions in there at once, and they're just scrolling along, and we're trying to get to them. But there is an after workshop survey, so please fill it out, give us some feedback. Santiago, Mark, great job, guys. Thanks for taking the time out of your day. And Miguel, thanks for taking the time to join. And we'll see you all in 2 weeks. So thanks, everyone.
See you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. See you.